Imagine this. You're standing in an empty room, surrounded by ambience, trying to figure out whether what you're seeing is even real. Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce. Well, no, my real name is Spookify, and what I've just described to you is what absolutely amazes me about this indie game that I played about a year ago, and again a few months later. This game is called Superliminal. There are so many different aspects that make me want to come back and re-experience what this phenomenon has to offer. And so today, I'll be talking about why Superliminal is nothing short of a masterpiece. I would say that Superliminal's story is a bit simpler than its mechanics, especially when only looking at the fundamentals. But when you dig deeper into the world of Superliminal, things get a bit more complicated. The story revolves around a patient that signed up for dream therapy organized at the Pierce Institute. The so-called Somnosculpt technology provides dream therapy that is supposedly used to relieve stress, cure depression, bring up your self-esteem, you get the point. The game begins with the protagonist entering a controlled dream environment. In this completely safe space, the patient is able to control and manipulate any object purely with the use of perspective and, of course, his wondrous imagination. Very early on, we are introduced to an AI guide that explains to the player that the orientation that enables us to do such things within the dream is called eyelids, Somnosculpt's interactive lucid induction dream state in which you retain full consciousness and control. As the dreams progress, the player must solve various different puzzles based around the mechanics discussed about 40 seconds ago. The real cherry on top of all of this is that throughout the entire experience, the player shifts from one dream to another, unable to fully wake up to reality, kind of like Inception. And on top of all of that, a certain figure that goes by the name of Dr. Glenn Pierce monitors every step the protagonist makes in the liminal environment in hopes to fix whatever is wrong with his mental health. For the grand finale, the protagonist's desperation to escape grows, until the AI guide tells him to overload his mind, which will eventually trigger the emergency wake-up protocol, signaling the end of the dream journey. At the end of the last chapter, Dr. Glenn Pierce reveals that everything that has happened to us was all according to his plan. He tells us that everyone that comes to the Institute does so because they feel like they've lost control over something important to them. This is often due to the fact that we are unable to view our problems from a different perspective. Let's look at an example of this. Imagine you're unable to sleep early at night, and so you try to go to sleep earlier, but nothing changes. And so you attempt to do the same thing, from going to sleep at 11 PM to 10 PM, but once again, nothing changes. So you look at the other ways of solving this problem. You look at the other factors that could be affecting your dream. Maybe the time you went to bed wasn't the true thing troubling you from going to sleep. Maybe it was because you ate too late, or that you had too much caffeine. Looking at our problems from different angles is often going to result in us finding the right solution. And now it all comes together. We've come to the realization that the entire story is based around us finding that different perspective. The whole story was just a massive metaphor. I really like this message. It makes the game stand out from other puzzle-based games, and I think this is what makes Superliminal so incredible, so unforgettable. This is the standalone reason as to why I left a positive effect on so many people that have played it. Now that we've covered that, let's look at another one of these positive attributes that led to Superliminal being such a fantastic experience. I think that the mechanics, the puzzles, and the level design of this game are all equally as important as the story itself. It brings an extra layer of uniqueness to an already unique game because of its genius story. To start off, the level design in Superliminal is great. In my first playthrough, every single level just blew my mind. Each level introduces a new aspect that the game has to offer in terms of mechanics, a part of the hidden lore, or the story itself. One thing that the devs have really nailed about the design of the levels is that there's no real repetition. The music changes, like I said before, each level introduces a different mechanic. Sometimes the atmosphere and even the genre changes. I'm looking at you, level 4. Hell, even the color scheme changes. Another thing is that while the levels are slow paced, they always manage to feel engaging, as you never know what's about to happen next. This is something that I always thought about whilst playing the game. It actually led to me being quite cautious, as at any minute I could just fall through the floor or accidentally teleport to the moon. Another big thing to talk about is how well the developers have captured the dreamy, liminal vibe. The visuals, the lighting, the music, it all fits into place to create this dreamlike feel. Now, I have been talking about these different mechanics, but what actually are they? Well, Superliminal is special because it lets you do pretty much anything you want with the objects provided within the game. This goes from being able to pick up pretty much anything you want from anywhere at any time, no matter the distance between the player and the object, to having the power to make things extremely small and extremely big, all with the use of perspective. The game also tends to bend the laws of physics. When you think everything's going normal, you better think again, cause just like that, you're being pulled to the ceiling cause the devs thought that changing the direction of the gravitational pull was rather hilarious. What else is there? Oh yeah, you can also duplicate things. Oh, pull long dice-ish towers out of the ground, that's a fun one. Shrink yourself to atomic levels with the use of bouncy castles that act as portals. Oh, then there's... You then, of course, use these different mechanics to solve puzzles, like having to upscale a dollhouse to be able to go inside of it and move into the next room. Or lining up a drawing of a table with a vase to bring it into life. Then jump on top of it and move on to the next level. There are also tons of Easter eggs within the game, like the 4 totems from Inception, or just literal Easter eggs. There's also a TV that shows screenshots from the early development stages of the game. There's a secret room that references the chess match played in 1997, where it was a grandmaster against a supercomputer. Alright, that's about it when it comes to the gameplay. Obviously there's so much more to talk about in depth, but I am trying to keep this video from going past the 20-minute mark. So let's leave that for another time. Now that we can check the gameplay off the list, let's look at the sound design. I want you to close your eyes for a second and listen. What are you thinking of right now? Emptiness? Nothing? How about now? A feeling of mystery, perhaps even confusion? How about liminality? That right there is the power of sound design in Superliminal. Every sound, whether it's the AC running, the lights flickering, the doors creaking, contribute to the immersion of the game. Same goes with the music. The music gives it a classy feel, as most tracks that are part of the OST are classical music pieces. I think the developers chose this genre to enhance the point of the whole dream therapy idea, to calm the patient down. They could have also used this genre to make the liminal space almost feel somewhat familiar, yet distant at the same time. Silence also adds on to the game's intensity, like we saw in level 4. At first you think that it's going to be another completely normal level, and then moments later, the music stops, the lights go out, and suddenly there's a tense atmosphere, just because the casual element of the game wasn't there anymore. After making your way through the horrors of level 4, you turn on a generator, the lights turn on, and the casual element returns once more, and just like that, everything feels normal again. The sound design in this game smoothens every rough part of it, and makes it an overall better experience. Without sound design, Superliminal would just be another puzzle game with, don't get me wrong, insanely cool mechanics, but a pretty boring atmosphere. With the music and all of the different sound effects, it makes the experience an unforgettable dream. It makes it more than just a puzzle game. Yeah? Alright. I was just now told that we have reached the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy the content that I create. And, oh, what's that I hear? You should watch the video that's about to appear on the screen. You know what? That's a really good idea. Anyways, happy holidays, and I'll see you in the next one.